A very good morning and welcome to the blue skies of Falun for the penultimate day of the cross-country World Cup season. A 10-kilometre race for the women today in the classic style, the traditional style, and it's a mass start and all 51 starters on the line at the moment, ready to go. Pretty tough course here in Falun, and alongside myself, Patrick Winston, is Mike Dixon to just give us some idea of what they're going to be going through today. And I guess you're going to come up with the two big names who are going to be competing for the win.
I think it's going to be an interesting one, but of course Bjørgen and Kowalczyk, they're going to be neck and neck, and I think, as Bjørgen said yesterday, all she needs to do is follow Kowalczyk. She's anticipating Kowalczyk's going to lead this out strong, and I think that has to be Kowalczyk's strategy, but she is a lone person there, doesn't have team backup. On the other hand, Bjørgen has so many good Norwegians surrounding her.
50 World Cup points on offer today, plus €5,000 for the winner of today's race. But really, this is just stage 3 of a 4-stage mini tour at the end of the season. And that's really what the top prize is, because 200 points being awarded tomorrow, plus €40,000 for the winner. And away they go, catching out the cameraman here in Falun. Of course, Marit Bjørgen gets a little bit of a start, having won the sprint yesterday. And what an unbelievable race that was from Bjørgen. They called it a prologue, Mike, but essentially it was a sprint to the top of the climb.
She was quite amazing, Bjørgen, and I think a big warning for everyone else in the field today that she said after this race, this trial, the prologue, she said she's feeling really good and wishes there were more World Cups remaining in this season. She hasn't felt that she's, well, she hasn't. She's raced very lightly this season, but so great form today.
So let's have a look at the standings and the times on the right, the margin between the athletes at the moment. So Bjørgen with the win yesterday, plus the 15-second bonus, gives herself a 17-second lead over Justina Kowalczyk. And here is Marit Bjørgen.
Yeah, my shape is good. I was going a good race yesterday, and I think today I think Justina and Therese want to go fast, and I have to try to follow them. And if I'm feeling very strong, I can maybe attack for a bonus second and also in the finish line. So yeah, we'll see, and I'm looking forward.
Well, I think a lot of people would be dreading the work rate that she's about to, and the pain that she's about to put herself through. Marit Bjørgen doesn't reveal much in her interviews, Mike. She always looks charming, always says she feels good. We are about to find out just over 5 minutes before the start of this 10-kilometre classic. And of course, Marit Bjørgen hoping to hang on to Kowalczyk. Welcome back to Falun, the local Charlotte Kaller just getting prepared for this race. Everyone else out enjoying what is a classic spring day. I think that's better than they can say in the UK about the weather conditions at the moment. This is the time of year to put your cross-country skis on and get out in the hills, Mike. Not quite t-shirt weather as yet, but give it another week or so, and it's shorts and t-shirts out on the snowy slopes.
Very much, and it's good here. Last week, of course, it was Oslo. This week, it's Falun, and the culture here is still good. Get the families out into the great outdoors, introduce them to skiing very, very young, and I think we've got similar crowds here this weekend in Falun as we had last weekend in Oslo.
Who do you think the biggest sporting stars are in Sweden at the moment? What sport do they come from?
I think the names in the cross-country skiing, from what Olsen did at the World Championships, he is up there, and cross-country skiers have always been up there with the Gundesvans and the Torgny Morgren, Vasberg. I can't think of any other. Of course, there's the rally drivers.
Ice hockey is huge in this part of the world, and football has its part, but obviously there's quite a long stint in the season that you can't play football. So the winter sports get a definite look in. Not quite as successful as their neighbours, the Norwegians, over recent years. The Finns are coming back. Nice to see that Finland have 4 of their top women in the top 15 of the World Cup standings at the moment. That is much better than you can say for the Russians, who only have 2 in the top 30.
I think the Russians have been the most disappointed team. And you can see the temperatures here, -7 for the snow, warmer the air temperature, but that wind will reduce it slightly.
Well, that's quite a differential. I think that was a little bit suspect. -7 on the snow, +3 in the air. Certainly in a couple of hours' time it will get up to around 5-6 degrees. Let's have a look at the course. They climb up out of the stadium 3 times a 3.3-kilometre loop. We're hoping to get a split time at 1.2. but they have a bonus seconds, we've calculated at 4.6 kilometers, so the second time at the top of the big hill, and then they'll get bonus seconds when they come back down into the stadium as well.
That's right, when they come to the finish line, but you can just picture Justina, here she is, her team strategy, and all that Justina knows how to do is just go as hard as she can from the gun. I'm not sure she'll break the rest of the field, but when you look at what she did in Lahti 2 weekends ago, she destroyed the field, but that was in the time trial format.
Well, this course suits her, Mike. 3 big climbs, once on each loop, and that is just what Kowalczyk enjoys, and I think she's well capable of taking the 17 seconds back on Bjørgen. She did it in Lahti. She beat Bjørgen by 21 seconds over the 10-kilometer distance, and Lahti is a similar sort of course with big, steep, long climbs and then flat sections just to recover. And I'd be surprised if Kowalczyk doesn't find herself very close to Marit Bjørgen at the end of today, which will set us up nicely for the final day of the season. Will Therese Johaug get a look in?
I think she will. Again, with the 2-kilometer uphill climb from the stadium, of course they go round this 3.3-kilometer track 3 times. Her lightweight, her incredible tempo, I think Therese Johaug, and the fact that she would like to have been ranked a little better than 13th at the moment in this mini tour, and she's 1 minute 13 behind. She'll want those bonus 30 seconds.
Well, she'll come back, the warm-up complete, and they get their call out onto the grid. Now, the favourites go on the first row. I think in a stadium as big as this, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to widen that to maybe 10, even 20 wide. You will have done some of the big Loppet races, Mike. The Vasa Loppet, which starts on a lake, and I think the start line is something like 200 lanes wide. And it is a cavalry charge up to the end of the lake, because if you're not first onto the tracks, you have to sit and queue. I'd like to see that sort of situation, and maybe bonus points after a kilometre. So the first kilometre is the fastest K they ski.
Hey, I hope that you'll be listened to, because I know that would be good, wouldn't it? But would it create the bottleneck? Would it create, I mean, there's always going to be a bottleneck. I think the way they're doing it here is in your ranking, perceived best athletes at the front, so that there's no bottleneck and people falling all over the place.
Well, that's fine, but it doesn't do the likes of Therese Johaug or Heidi Weng any good, who start positions 13 and 20, and certainly have the potential to finish in the top 3 or 4 today. Well, the women are ready. We're going to take a very quick break. We'll be back with the start in just a moment. Marit Bjørgen, last year's world #1. Where's bib #1? This year's world #1. Where's the yellow bib? Justina Kowalczyk cannot have the overall World Cup taken away from her, so that's already in the bag. The Distance World Cup is in the bag for Kowalczyk as well, and the BMW X Drive, well, all she has to do is finish the race today, and she gets the keys and can set off home to Poland. It will be fast. Bjørgen in the centre of your picture, and away they go. A good start from #4, Kerttu Niskanen of Finland on the far side. She's got her into a stride very, very quickly. Marit Bjørgen a little bit sluggish on this side. Charlotte Kalla in the white, 2 from this side of the row, is a little bit slow as well. And in fact, the Finns looking stronger than anyone else.
Yeah, the Finns have had a great end to the season. They looked, for me, as if they were going to be one of the best teams at the World Championships, but their form deserted them when it mattered most. And they are riding that good form now, without a doubt, the Finnish team. And I think this classic race will suit them maybe more than tomorrow's freestyle race.
Kowalczyk moves into the right-hand column. Right behind her, Heidi Weng, who's had a tremendous start, Mike. She was back on the 3rd row. She a little bit of skipping, weaving in and out of the skiers in front, and she's got herself right on the heels of Justina Kowalczyk. I shouldn't think she can believe her luck.
And well, Weng's had a good start, but on the other hand, her teammate Therese Johaug, not such a good start. And no, she doesn't have the sprint pace, the early pace. but she's got a lot of traffic to get through. Maybe, what, 15th position at the moment.
Yeah, Johaug on the left-hand column, working her way up the hill. She's number 13. You might just be able to pick that out. She's got to do some good work early, so she doesn't let the others get away. One of the Germans going round on the outside. I think that looked like Nicole Fessel, who was trying to make up ground. But Mike, it's so much easier and so much more relaxing to ski in the tracks than it is to come out and around the side. And of course, because the surface is still fairly solid.
It's very, very solid, and that's why they've altered the course here, because of it's like just ice on the corners here, and it is a lot of energy to go round and wide of the athletes, and you risk getting tripped over with other athletes' ski poles.
Well, a great crowd turning out today for the penultimate day of the season, and they won't be surprised to see Bjørgen and Kowalczyk in the first two positions. It is all about those two, unless, of course, Therese Johaug can find her way to the front and start to put pressure on the big two.
Do you know what? I think Therese just did run with that incredible tempo of hers. I saw her passing a number of athletes, and I think she has made it through into that first 10.
I think she's down in 6th or 7th position at the moment. She chose the right spot because she went to the inside of the turn, and so therefore was covering less distance than both Bjørgen and Kowalczyk. Now she needs to get on terms. We saw yesterday, Mike, how important it is to have a little bit of beef at the downhill. Northug flew down the hill in the men's prologue. Therese Johaug very, very slow on the downhill in the women's.
Therese lost a lot of time on that descent, and it was an easy descent, easy in the sense that you didn't have to expire a lot more energy within that race, but you had to be very, very good in terms of balance, movement, reading the approach to the corners in these icy conditions.
Yeah, but quite cold overnight, -7, -8 in some places. High up on the hill, it might have been even colder than that. Did you get a chance to have a look at the wax on the skis?
I saw some earlier testings clister, but and I think clister is the way with these icy tracks. So, yeah. So maybe a bit of silver clister.
And if you're using clister, you use a slightly different ski as well.
That's right, more bow, more compression into that waxing pocket. Yes. Kala, sorry, I saw Kala's heart rate there at 169 beats, but 88% of her maximum. I actually thought she would be higher than that at this point after almost 4 minutes.
What's Kala, 25, 26?
25-year-old
so
now.
Maximum 220 minus her age, so you'd expect her to have a maximum of around 190. So 169 sounds as though she's cruising, but it looks as though she's working pretty hard. She's wearing bib number 3, 8th in the World Cup standings this year, having finished 4th last year. So it's not been a brilliant season for Charlotte Kalla, but 3 times she's finished in 2nd place.
And in her career, Kalla, of course, when she came to our notice, winning the Tour de Ski as a very young athlete, but she's only had 3 World Cup victories. I'm surprised. Her name is big. We expect maybe more from her than she's provided this year.
Well, there's no doubt that Vancouver 2010 provided her biggest achievement, the gold medal in the 10-kilometre freestyle, and that obviously the highlight of her career. But she promised so much in 2007, won the Tour de Ski in 2008, and I guess there are still question marks over whether that victory is still affecting her today.
It was an early victory, and she went into that event so carefree, but it takes so much out of you, and as a young athlete it has to break you down, and yeah, she never really has performed to the expectations from that wonderful start.
Well, into the woods they've vanished for now. Let's have a look at the standings. Johaug, who started way at the back, has worked hard over the first 1.5 kilometres to get a